What the fuck? Okay, hello everyone. I hope you're all having a great holiday time. This are my slippers. Those are my slippers. So today is going to be my November wrap up. I know it's like halfway through December already. Now that I have time and it's the holidays, I can make video content again. As usual, I guess now this is a trend. Who knew? I'm going to be doing all the graphic novels, art, books first, and then I will do the books that I read in fiction, physical, later. Let's get started. Okay, the first book that I read last month was Space. Also, it's so dark in Denmark. Guys, it's 2 o'clock, and look at the state of my room. I have one lamp on. It's so dark. Like, I can't do anything about the quality of this content. I know. So, Space Battle Lunchtime Volume 1. This was such a cool idea. So basically, you follow our main character, who's a human working at a bakery. She gets picked up by this alien to basically be part of a, what's that called? It's called like a cooking show among other alien planets, because she needs to stand in for someone who was killed previously or disappeared or something like that. And so each chapter is divided to like another challenge that she has to face in the cooking show. And it was really cute. It was really fun. I absolutely love this concept. I thought it was very inventive and just like a great time. I also got really obsessed with finding I think there's volume 2 and 3. And I still haven't gotten them from my local comic book store, and I'm just really excited to get them. I think this should have been combined with the other two so that it was like one big volume. But yeah, I really liked the art. It was really fun. The food dishes that they came up with. There was some like interesting intrigues. Yeah, that's basically what the art looks like. And there's some cool characters in here. I really enjoyed it. And then I picked up okay, there. Back to the Future. This is adapted by Kim Smith. This is a children's book. Like, I'm not gonna lie, it's not even like I can say it's like an adult graphic novel. This is just downright a children's book. Like, I don't know why I read this stuff. The art is really cute. It's literally just a children's book. I'm not gonna lie, I've seen Instagram like description on their posts that are longer than the text in this book. And I mean, I'm not cutting that on Goodreads, so for everyone who's interested in children's book, this was really good. I think watching the movie, like obviously I think the movie is better, but if you want to introduce, like if you're a fan of Back to the Future and older sci-fi stories, like I think this would be fun to bring to your children or your adult children. The art is really, I really like the art. The story was just like the story is. Then I finally finished this Frankenstein adaptation illustrated by Robert H. Webb and Anne Brewster. So I know this is like a series of many different adaptations of the classic sci-fi. At the back, they have a description or like a little map of questions and a little thing about Mary Shelley. And then there's a list of all the Frankenstein adaptations that are ever made, which I will be working my way through. I thought that was really fun, and it was like very informative. The art looks like old comic book art, looks like the classics. I didn't enjoy this, and I think what I'm starting to realize is that if I want to read Frankenstein adaptations, I'd much rather read novels, like fiction adaptations, or more like retelling and not necessarily adaptations, because once you know the Frankenstein story and people are adapting it into like this little thing, like it's just sort of the same thing, and you really never really get to like dig into the topics and seeing people do their own take on Frankenstein. So quite disappointed. I think I gave this 2 stars. Also, you know, like all the characters look the same. The women are super like sexualized and like feminized. I don't know. It was just not my cup of tea. I've read a lot of pink graphic novels this month. Is it a coincidence, or is it a plan for something that's gonna happen in the future? I wonder. The next book is The Fire Never Goes Out, a memoir in pictures by Noelle Stevenson. So Noelle Stevenson is the writer of Lumberjanes, and it's coming to me, Nimona. So this is her memoir, and what I understand of this book and people who have been following her for years is that basically all the content is published, I think, on her blog or like on Instagram. So she has been updating her followers or fans with regular year in reviews, and this is sort of like put all those years in reviews together. I found it very inspiring as someone who's trying to become a graphic novelist. I really loved reading this, and I mean, she's also queer, so I enjoyed it in that way. I want to show you some parts of it so you can understand. The art looks like this. Sometimes there is, oh yeah, and I highlighted some parts. It's very cute, it's very simple, all that. Someone told me that you're not supposed to show like graphic novel content like in online forums because of copyright stuff, but I feel like if I go to the store and I see something, like I want to flip through it before I buy it, and I think it's also nice to show some of the art so you get an idea of what you're getting yourself into. But if someone wants to know something about that, like if I shouldn't post the inside of a book, tell me about it. So I got very emotionally attached to this book. Noelle Stevenson, she talks a lot about the fire that was in, the fire never goes out, this fire that's within her, and she struggles a lot with mental health in different aspects. And I think when I was reading this, like it struck really true to home. So in the beginning I was like, I don't like this, like it's not what I want. But then I still gave it 4 stars or 3 stars or something. Like I ended up really enjoying it, but I think it was just yeah, a little too close to home, but I think her journey is really inspiring and great to read about. So I do recommend this graphic novel memoir. I do like graphic novel memoirs as well. Then I read one of my new favorite graphic novels, which I'm really excited about. This is The Seance Tea Party. Look how cute this is. So cute. So cute. So this is the friendship between our main character and this ghost. I already forgot the names. Oh my god. Guys, I read so many graphic novels now that they're all starting to like blend together. I adored this for several reasons. The art, like this should just be read during fall. Like the art is just so fall-y and has like leaves and stuff on the sides. Like it's just so cute. So Alexa, what is her problem? She has a great imagination and it's about their friendship, but it's also about Alexa's past, like the ghost's past. I have already forgotten so much of it. Ooh, now I remember what this is about. So basically, reading the back, Laura, she doesn't want to grow up. And so I think it's from 12 to 13 or 13 to 14 when there's a new school year. Everyone has started to like wear makeup, like all the girls start to gossip about boys, and she's like, what happened to having fun in the yard and playing games? And Laura just does not want to grow up. And so she really tries to hold on to being a kid because she finds being adult so scary. And I'm just like, Laura, I can relate to you so much. Like, even though she is talking about like being a kid versus being a teen, like I would so much rather be a teen or a kid versus being an adult. Like being an adult just sucks. I'm sorry. Like I'm not liking this deal. I didn't sign up for this shit. And so I could really, really relate to Laura. I adored this. There's also one part which is just like, it's such a small part where Laura, she's gonna go to the ball or something, and she's like, oh, I wonder who I'm gonna ask for, and she shows all these pictures of all these different people, and like, it's just so diverse, and it's like, you know, this book isn't explicitly queer at all, but it's queer normative, and that little difference makes such a big difference, like just sprinkling the fact that she's like open to dating anyone, and it's not even discussed, it's just like trans or queer normative, and it's just like touched my little heart. Then I read The Prince and the Dressmaker by Yen Wang. So this is very hyped by BookTube, and I liked it. I thought the story was cute. It's a bit basic. My favorite part is probably the ending and what the dad does for this dude, one of our main characters. So basically it's about, oh, Frances, that's right. So her name is Frances, and she's a dressmaker, and she basically gets picked up to make dresses to Sebastian the Prince, and when he makes dresses for Sebastian, he becomes later Chrysanthemum or something, Crystalia, sorry. Crystalia. Yeah, so my favorite part of this book is probably the designing part. I wasn't a big fan of the dresses. I feel like it could have been more awesome, but like someone who does design stuff and does sew stuff, I really liked following our main character, Frances. I thought she was great, and I liked her story. I liked the drag representation. It was a bit old, and honestly, my least favorite part is like how the boxes are structured. I feel like it's not so creative the way that the art is presented, and I think the more I read the graphic novel, like the more I get appreciation, not only for, because the art is like, everyone's a good artist, you know, especially when it comes in this, like, you don't need to make the things amazing, but the presentation is actually really, really important. And it's like those small details about how you decide to put the boxes, what font you use for the text, and where they place the text bubbles, if you break the norms of the boxes or not. So like, I really started to pay attention to these things, and that was probably my least favorite part of this. I wasn't a big fan of the art. I think I gave it 3 stars. Like, I read, like, this is so much better and more intricate and more detailed and like a more enjoyable and unique story. But I do like the drag stories too. Let's move on. Then I read My Soul Exchange Diary. This is a manga written by Nagata Kabi. It's the 3rd one in the series. You first have to read My Lesbian Experience with Loneliness, and then the first one, My Soul Exchange Diary. So in this one, she's basically making a diary to herself in the future, saying like, this happened lately, blah, 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 blah. And I think like I really appreciated the first 2 for what they were doing, and I'm not here to criticize Nagata Kabi's life, because she's valid to have her struggles and relapse and go through the same things again. And I think we all have the same thoughts we're struggling with again and again, just in different ways that they come up in our lives. And so I'm not about to criticize that, but as someone who's reading her life, I think it becomes quite repetitive, and I feel like each novel doesn't really bring all that much to the reader, even though it does tackle slightly different topics. I enjoyed this, and I feel like she has a very relatable yet unique perspective on the things she goes through. And I think the lessons she learns, she doesn't really absorb them in a way. But she's getting further and further in her life, and I'm rooting for Nagata Kabi always. Then I read this, Space Bear. This is a graphic novel with no text. Like, it looks like this, and the art is really amazing. It's about this bear who basically lands on this new planet, and he's trying to survive. The messages was super cute. There's all these lore on the planet that he discovers, and I felt like what the story got to tell in no words at all was quite incredible. And there's these creatures on the planet. Space Bear is obviously super cute. There was even some like very deep commentary on his backstory, and it's about love and belonging and history and rage of betrayal. Cute. Cute. Then I picked up Glitch by Sarah Graylee. This has a bit of a in real life vibe, but in my opinion done better. So basically you follow Izzy, she and her best friend, Eric. So Eric and Izzy are best friends, and they play a lot of video games together, and there's this new video game that comes out that's called Dungeon City, I think. And so Izzy gets it a bit early. She jumps into the game without telling Eric about it, and she basically gets sucked into the game. So she's in the game for real. She meets this robot that's like, hey, you need to save this world alone. Like, that's the whole premise of the game. You need to rob all these dungeons so that you can collect experience, and finally you can defeat the big old guy. My friends are so cute. Anyways, yeah, that's the robot. And so basically the longer she's in the game, the more like she's lying to Eric, and so their friendship is getting really torn up, and there's something spooky going on within the game that so slowly gets like uncovered. I think reading this, I was really invested into the story. Like, I was like, no, Izzy, what are you doing? Why are you betraying Eric? And then like all the backstabbing that went on in the end, like the drama, I was here for it. I'm not gonna lie. I'm finding that more and more I'm really in love with this, like these short, glossy paged, full color graphic novels. Like more and more this is like what I realized that I really love. So I was really excited about this. I think, was it this one that I think the art is so funny. The way that it's illustrated, let me see. Like the facial expressions are hilarious. In this one, like her mom is reaching through the bubbles to silence her. Like it's just illustrated in such a fun way. Maybe there's something else I wasn't a big fan of. Sometimes like these graphic novels, they tend to have these like also color backgrounds, which is like not the actual background of the setting, which I'm not sure I'm a big fan of, but knowing how much time it takes like to make a graphic novel, I'm realizing how much relief those could be as well. And then I picked up Quantum Mechanics. This is another sci-fi graphic novel. This one's by Jeff Wiegel. Ooh, so many graphic novels, guys. This one is about these 2 girl mechanics who are maybe early teens, late middle grade, hood. like 12 years old, I think. And basically they get kidnapped by this pirate ship that forces them to be mechanics for them. And slowly you kind of see how they build a new family within the pirate spaceship. And these two girls are just so kick-ass. I really, really like her. I don't remember their names. Rox and Sam. So Sam, I really, really liked her. And she's just so calm. And I just love how, I don't know, you can see like she does not look like very feminine, and the characterization of like all species here I just thought was very creative. This is their very mean boss, you could say. There's loads of intrigues. I think, oh, I wish I would have taken more notes. There's also these super cute creatures in this, which are like baby Silurians, which is the same as them. Super cute. It talks a lot about like hypothetical mechanics. I think if I have one critique from this, it's like there's not really so much plot, and I think at one point we don't really know where the story's going, which sometimes can be exciting, but there's not really that much driving the plot forward except that they've been kidnapped and obviously they want to go back home. I liked it a lot. It was a happy ending, and at the end the author illustrates like how he created the graphic novel, which I always enjoy as someone who's trying to do the same. Then, from popular demand by the audience, I finally read Snapdragon by Kat Lee. Thank you for this recommendation. I loved it. I loved it. Great. Did I give it 5 stars? I must have, right? I did give it 5 stars. So a big plus in this is the art. I think it is so cute. I really like the main character like a lot. I feel she was just, I don't know, so great, and her best friend is trans. She gets this friendship with an elder woman who's said to be like the witch, and the elder woman is also gay, and you get some info about how these two people are connected. Like our main character, her name is Snapdragon. Her name is Snapdragon. Oh my god. So Snapdragon's family history is also very interesting. Also, there's a bit of magic. I love the relationship she builds with this witch. Just everything with this was so perfect. I think it should also be read during the fall if possible. It is also about nature, appreciation, and Snapdragon is a gem. I was sure this was written by a Black author, but it's not. I don't know if that matters to anyone. But thank you so much for recommending it to me. I really adored it. So appreciate that to everyone who told me to read it. So now we're gonna get into the actual books that I read this month. I'm going to start with Words of Radiance. Finally finished the second book, and the Stormlight Archives on my second reread. So this is still my favorite book of the 3 in the series. The Rhythm of War just arrived, but now that I finished all 3, like, I'm sort of tired of the series, so I don't want to pick it up, which is just like the whole point of why I rushed through the audiobooks. I'm like, I just can't take any more high fantasy, and I'm not in the mood for it. And like, the thing is, I love Rhythm of War the most a lot, also because I think Shallan's story is the most interesting. Like, that's just my personal opinion. I love the fact that all these characters that we've been following are like meeting for the first time. I love how we get to like experience in Kaladin as like going backwards in his like mental process. Like, I find it stressful and exciting and also realistic. Yeah, I just really enjoyed it a lot. Highly recommend these audiobooks. What more can I say? After that, I read a middle grade. This is Front Desk by Kelly Yang. So I thought this was a graphic novel, and that's why I bought it. Like, if you look at this cover, you can see that it basically looks like a graphic novel. I actually really enjoyed it. Like, I usually don't read middle grade because it's really not my jam. Sometimes I just can't vibe with it for some reason. This one, really loved it. I gave it 4.5 stars. I'm definitely going to be reading the next one, 3 Keys, I think it's called. I've already pre-ordered it. So, reasons why I love this. First one, the author is pulling a lot of experience from her own childhood, and it's quite harsh. So basically you follow our main character. So Mia Yang, she's an immigrant from China, and her parents and her are basically, they get a job and a stay at this hotel called the Cala Vista, motel. And so they live there and they work there, and their boss, Mr. Yao, is just such a pain in the ass. And Mia is such a strong, lovely, amazing characters. Like, her relationship to the people who stay at the motel, like, constantly are really nice. It discusses a lot of racism and immigrant politics from the character of someone who is pretty much just a child. And I found that so amazing and so pure and rewarding. And I think when she discovers, there's this one guy who is Black, one of the regulars, who like, stay there permanently. I think his name is, I forgot his name. And she doesn't understand like racism at first, but when she discovers it, like, it just breaks my heart that, like, I don't know, like, you know, when you read all these like books about racism, you're like, okay, but these characters are used to it, and for some reason that's less sad. It shouldn't be, but it's just like Mia discovering it and following her journey, and she does so many good choices, and she uses her writing. She's a writer, so I'm guessing like our main character Mia is based a lot on Kelly as well, because Kelly also had to also did work in a motel with her parents, and also is a Chinese immigrant. So all of that is like very cool, and I enjoyed it a lot. It was so wholesome and sweet and important, and just like really liked it. So she uses her writing to basically right a lot of wrongs in the adult world, which is amazing. Yeah. Okay, let's move on. Then I'm going to go quickly through. Okay, I'm gonna talk about this book first. So this is Pew by Catherine Lacey. I picked this up during my vlog of 10 independent bookstores to visit in Copenhagen. So this is sort of a queer book. So in this one, you follow this character. They move from town to town, they live in churches, and the book starts off explaining why churches are such a great place to sleep if you're homeless. And you follow them as they come to this one church, and they get discovered by this family that goes to the church on Sundays, and they take them in. They keep asking them and pestering them with questions like, who are you? What's your name? Where did you come from? What's your gender? We need these questions answered to be able to help you. And they end up calling them Pew, and Pew doesn't understand why any of these things are important, and they also don't remember anything about themselves. So they're kind of like, I don't know where I come from, I don't know what my gender is, I don't know why you're asking me this, and I also don't know why you need these things to like help me. But Pew doesn't really speak to them, like we're just following Pew's thoughts. It's really interesting because also this is like a Christian society, and it doesn't really specify what area it takes place. It feels like it takes place a couple decades back, but I can also see it taking place today because I know there's quite a few like Christian cities that do have a similar mentality, also like in the south of the US and all that. So I'm not really sure about that, but I think it's interesting either way. Pew kind of jumps from all these families, interacts with all the different characters who have different relationship to each other and Pew, and that's all the story is about. So I ended up giving this 4 stars, I think. I think it's quite simple, and I do feel like the book could have maybe digged more into the real issues, but my favorite parts were definitely when we were going into Pew's mind and seeing their thoughts. It almost feels wrong to call them Pew because it's not a name that they chose themselves, it's just a name that the town gave them. I really enjoyed this, and I love the commentary, and I think the ending was beautiful. I think the ending could have been even more mysterious, and I think it could have been a bit more plot driven because there's not really that much happening, but I do understand the characters are also important. So yeah, I enjoyed this. It was kind of like an average read, but I love me some non-binary action. So that's that. Then I'm going to talk about 3 books that I read because of the last video that I made. So this is Barn 8, Migrations, and Oil and Water. So these are 3 books that I requested from mytbr.co about climate change. So these are some that I read. The first one was Barn 8. I'm just going to go over them very briefly because I do go in quite a depth in that video. Barn 8 is about these 2 characters who plan a chicken heist to steal 1 million chickens. Is that how much it is? So amazing, so touching, super unique. I cried a lot at the end. It is a story about humanity, and really, really recommend it. This is one of my new time favorite books, and if you want more information, please check out that video. Then I read Oil and Water by Hilan Hibila. Also, you follow 2 characters, journalists who have taken on a mission to find this white woman who's been kidnapped by extreme environmentalists, and this white woman is a daughter of an oil executive. So you followed them as they try to write a story about her, and also go into the Niger Delta. It takes place in Nigeria to basically uncover a lot of where this woman is, and you learn a lot about the oil spillage and corruption in Nigeria. I gave this 3 stars. It's quite slow, and it wasn't really my cup of tea, but I'm really glad for the information that I gained during reading that book. And then I read Migrations by Charlotte McConaughey. Oh, I keep forgetting to say the name of Barn 8. Her name is Deb Owen Unferth. Yes. So this basically follows this woman who goes to Greenland to see if she can find a fishing boat that will take her all the way to the Antarctic. So she decides to follow these 3 Arctic terns, and they're said to be the last Arctic terns that migrate from the Arctic to the Antarctic because of climate change. And it's a very sad story about animal extinction. And it's just really just beautiful and heart-clenching. And I cried also a lot at the end. I do wish it was a bit more subtle and you didn't get all the answers at the end, but still really enjoyed it, and I also gave it 5 stars. So that's it for this video. I know this was a long one, but I just really like to get into all the gritty, bitty stuff on graphic novels. A lot of people don't feel like they talk about it as in depth because like it's just a graphic novel, but I just don't see it that way, so I do go very in depth. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and comment down below some books that you read in the month of November, and if you read any of the books that I talked about today and your thoughts on them, or if you have any more climate change book recommendations for me. So I wish you all a great day, great weekend, and I'll talk to you guys soon.